All right. So if you've joined, if you could just share in the chat what VL program you did, just so we have an idea of all of our alumni here, and then we'll get started. And don't be afraid to come off video if you want us to see your smiling faces. Welcome and good afternoon. I'm Dave Brown. I am the CEO of Valley Leadership. We're joined by Jen Gastelum and Natalka Zeleny, who are also on the VL team and help manage and lead our Explore program, which is now going into its third year. So excited for your interest in joining this cohort coming up that will start in the spring. Just a little bit of background on the Explore program. This is part of our reimagining of our curriculum and programming as we looked coming out of COVID in particular, but actually before COVID with our new strategic planning, wanted to, one, get people a foundational experience to understand all the issues in Arizona and how they're interconnected, how equity plays a role in that interconnectedness, and then making a plan for personal impact of what they can do in those issues. That is our Catalyze program. That's the hybrid program that meets virtually online with sessions and then in-person socials. A couple of you here today from that. And as we started thinking about programming as well, having that understanding of all those issues and then seeing how they show up in different parts of the state. Arizona is a very diverse state in a lot of different ways, and we can't just have the one view from based on where we are, whether that's the great state of Maricopa or Southern Arizona or any one of the tribal nations. We want to be able to understand how issues impact Arizonans based on where they live. So we knew that was an important part of how we can get a broad spectrum of leaders participating in impact when it comes to Arizona, because if you want to impact something like education, it's going to look very different based on where you are in Arizona. So let's go see those places. Let's go be not tourists in those places, but actually have substantive conversations about what that community and that place can bring and is bringing to Arizona overall. What they're doing in those most pressing issues, and really begin to understand how those issues show up in different places. So thus the Explore program, again, not just a way to say, hey, we have a program that can be in person and see things in Arizona. That's a great part of this program, but really it's to understand how those issues show up in different parts of Arizona so that as leaders, when we're working on those issues, we have as a broad perspective as possible when thinking about how those issues impact community members all across the state. So Jen, Natalka have done a great job now with 2 years under our belt. This is an in-person program. We purposely keep it small just to have that in-person experience and that relationship building experience, which some of you had when you went through Institute or Accelerate or Advance. Some of you also got some of that with Catalyze. But it's a very special program, and we're very happy to be able to offer it to our alumni. It is offered only to alumni, so whether that's Institute, Accelerate, Youth, Teen, Catalyze, Ready Together, it's only open. We want you to have that initial experience with VL before you start trekking all over the state. So with that, I will hand it over to our program manager, Jen Gastelum, who built the program, again, through a lens of community asset. What is the community doing very well? What are its strengths? Where can we learn? What do they want to tell us? Very respectful of what the community wants to say about the place they call home, and has just done a marvelous job talking with over 100 partners all over the state to really get that experience as tight as possible in what's usually 2 or 3 days of traveling to get all of you to understand what that community is about and broaden that perspective. So thank you, Jen, for coming into year 3, as well as Natalka, and I will hand it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you. I feel like you did such a great job of concisely talking about it. We'll go into more detail, but thank you for your overview. I think that was perfect. Before we jump in, I just want to say thank you, Brad, Lene, Leah, for coming and joining us. These are our Explore alumni from last year, and we will hear a little bit from them later on after I dig into some of the program details. So let's see. All right. So as Dave said, I'm Jen. Me and Natalka do all of the lifting to make this program happen. So Natalka's here as always, is an amazing support and co-leader of this program. But I'll be facilitating our time together today. So before we dive in, I wanted to give you all an idea of where we're headed. Our focus today will be on our newest program, Explore, which will take place this spring with the third year. But first, we'll do a quick overview of Valley Leadership and the work that we've been doing to revamp our programming over the past few years. Next, we'll review the goals and logistics of Explore to really ensure that you all have a solid idea of what the commitment is for the Explore experience. And then finally, we'll take some time for some questions related to the program. So as an organization, our mission is clear. We're working to bring a broad spectrum of Arizonans together to work in collaboration as leaders to impact Arizona's most pressing issues. Our staff includes Dave Brown, our CEO, Paige Saucy, our marketing director, Aki Sagi, our marketing assistant, Amanda Straight, our manager of strategic doing, Carrie Larson, our manager of Catalyze program, Natalka Zeleny, our program assistant for strategic learning, and me, I'm Jen Gastelum, and I design and run the Explore program. And our staff has expanded since last year, so we're super excited to have such a solid team doing all of this work. So our mission is directly linked to the core belief that leadership is action. It's not a job title or a position that you hold. Instead, we believe that leadership is something that all of us can choose to practice. And practicing leadership looks like living out the principles of doing that you see here. So as VL alumni, many of you have likely been exposed to the principles of doing before now. And throughout all of our programs, we always come back to the principles of being driven to do, putting Arizona first, building trust, operating with a team mindset, and practicing integrity, as this is what truly forms the backbone of all of our programs. Now, over the past 4 years, Valley Leadership has evolved its programs to better align to the mission and the principles of doing, and the evolution has brought us to today, where we've taken all of the best parts of our past programming and built upon them to create a new suite of programs that we believe has the potential to really move our organization and our state forward. So that program suite includes 3 different experiences. Explore, of course, which you're here for today, but for anyone who isn't already an alumnus, their VL journey now starts with Catalyze, aimed at equipping participants with what they need to begin, enhance, or alter their path of getting things done for Arizona. Some of you may be in our current cohort. All alumni can continue their journey of doing for Arizona by taking part in Impact Maker, a place where our alumni come together to move the work forward in the most pressing issues in Arizona. And finally, you can join the program that we're focusing on today, Explore, where you can join a small cohort of alumni to travel around our state and deepen your understanding of how the issues show up throughout Arizona. So what is Explore? Well, aside from what we've already said about it, Explore takes people out of their community and their comfort zone to get to know the great diversity of the state and how our most pressing issues show up in rural, urban, suburban, and Native communities. Participants will expand their perspective, knowledge of the issues, and have the time and space to forge strong relationships and build connections in all corners of the state. We do this by actually visiting different parts of the state. The Explore program is made up of 6 sessions, exploring 4 distinct parts of Arizona: rural Arizona, Arizona as a border state, urban and suburban Arizona, Arizona on the reservation, and will be bookended by a prep session and a reflection session. Each session is thoughtfully designed to highlight the assets, as Dave said, and opportunities of these communities as identified by the people who live and work there. So let's look a little bit deeper. Explore will start with a full day of connection, building, and preparation, focusing on and ensuring we have all the tools that we need to get the most out of our experience, out of the experiences that we have in the places that we'll visit. After a deep dive into our principles of doing and the overarching goals of Explore, we will be ready to set out on our first overnight in Yuma, where we will learn about the thriving agriculture industry. Sorry, you guys, I'm gonna let Melissa in real quick. We'll learn about the thriving agriculture industry, the community's focus on education, and how larger issues in Arizona like immigration and water show up for the people living and working in Yuma. Next, we head to Nogales, where we'll experience life on the border. We'll learn more from local community members about programs that create a rich and supportive space for residents and entrepreneurs, and we gain a deeper understanding of the challenges and opportunities on the border itself. The third experience will take us through an urban and suburban lens, and this will be a 3-day experience with no overnight requirements. We'll start by visiting South Phoenix, giving some insight into the unique experience and history of this community. And then we'll also visit downtown Mesa and spend a day together in Buckeye, which will allow us to dig deeper into what rapid growth looks like for a community just outside of Phoenix. The last place that we'll visit is Navajo Nation. And most of you know that Navajo Nation is the largest designated tribal land in the country. It covers 27,000 square miles in Arizona and parts of New Mexico and Utah. And this journey includes 2 overnight stays and covers a large loop that allows us to gain an understanding of life on tribal land, learning from Apache, Navajo, and Hopi tribal members, and focusing on food sovereignty, entrepreneurship, and economic and community efforts. On our final day, we'll have the opportunity to come together and reflect on how these experiences contribute to a larger understanding of what it means to be an Arizonan. We will spend time discussing how our work might be impacted by the new connections, knowledge, and experiences of Explore, and begin to identify how this might bridge our communities together and contribute to the work that can be done through Valley Leadership's Impact Maker. So let's look at the logistics. The overnight commitment and days off of work vary throughout the program, but the dates have been intentionally chosen to avoid holidays and other potential scheduling conflicts. While we've also ensured that there's sufficient time in between the big overnight experiences that they minimally interfere with your family and work life. And all told, the entire program experience spans about 3 months. The overall commitment for Explore includes 4 overnights and requires 6 Saturdays and 4 Fridays and 2 Thursdays off of work. So traveling to each location will vary. The 2-night experience in Navajo Nation will be covered by, or will be coordinated by Valley Leadership. And then the other locations will be, we will support you in connecting with your fellow cohort members to carpool, but you'll be responsible for your own travel accommodations for Nogales, Yuma, South Phoenix, Mesa, and Buckeye. All hotel accommodations, snacks, and most meals will be included for the participants in the program. So what will we learn? Each location will offer a place-based experience driven by the formal and informal leaders within those communities, getting insight into the culture, economy, and community assets of a place. The topics that are covered have been identified by the leaders that we're learning from, but can all be tied back to the Vitalist Healthy Communities Wheel and VL's principles of doing. This looks like hearing from many different voices, understanding the culture, and staying in and contributing to the community and local economy. And participants can expect to learn from local leaders, participate in tours of community programs and organizations, engage in hands-on experiences, and join in social opportunities throughout your travels. So our biggest goal with Explore is to provide the space and experience for participants to broaden their perspective and gain a better understanding of the state of Arizona as a whole. At the end of your experience, Yuma won't just be a stop on your way to California. It'll hold a special place in your heart because of the connections that you've created in the community there. Therefore, in addition to the mindset that we reinforce and catalyze, adaptability, equity, and interconnectedness, Explore takes you a step further with an experiential, asset-based, place-based, and community-led program that will shift how you see Arizona and what it means to be a resident in our state, no matter where you are. We feel that creating a program led by the community who lives and works in the places that we visit, that focuses on the assets of that place and is interactive and experiential, will help us to accomplish these goals. So, what makes Explore different from our other programs? Aside from the obvious difference, traveling around Arizona to visit communities outside of Maricopa, Explore presents an opportunity to deeply connect with a smaller cohort of participants with a shared interest in broadening their understanding and connections throughout our state. You'll also have time to reflect on your personal values and how your beliefs align with your actions as we explore Arizona. At this point, you may be wondering about the cost for Explore. Because we want to make sure the cost is never a barrier to participation, We've created a sliding scale, and the program cost ranges from $500 to $2,350, depending on income level. And those income levels differ based on whether it's someone belonging to a household with a single income or household with multiple incomes. Oops, sorry about that. If your company is sponsoring your participation, we have a flat rate tuition of $3,000. And scholarships and or wage replacement may be available, and you can make that request as part of your application. So the application is completely online. It's comprised of 7 short answer questions. The application deadline is December 8th. And at that point, the VL staff and board will review the applications, and you can expect to be notified by email, letting you know whether you've been accepted by the end of December. To access the application, please visit the website, valleyleadership.org/explore, and make sure to submit your application by the deadline of December 8th. So that was a ton of information. My mouth is tired of talking, but I wanted to revisit the main points and hopefully what you're taking away from today's presentation. And then we'll jump into some questions and we'll learn a little bit from our alumni. So we start on March 23rd, which I did not update here. Sorry about that. March 23rd, we end June 15th. So those are our starting and ending dates. Program includes 6 sessions and 4 overnights. You'll need to take 6 Saturdays, 4 Fridays, and 2 Thursdays off of work. The locations are Yuma, Nogales, Mesa, South Phoenix, Buckeye, and Navajo Nation. And the goal is to broaden perspectives, make connections, and deepen your understanding of Arizona. So that was a lot of information, but I'm excited that we got through it so quickly. So now we can learn the more interesting part of it, which is the experiences of 3 of our alumni who've joined us today. So Brad, Lene, and Leah, thank you again for being here. Would you mind if we go ahead and start with each of you sharing just a little bit about your experience with Explore in last year's program? Okay, all right. Brad, let's start with you.
Sure. So thank you for having me. Welcome, everyone. So again, Brad here in Valenzuela. I work for First Place Phoenix. We are a supportive housing option for people with autism. My background, special ed, applied behavior analysis, and I rolled into the Explore program right after completing the Catalyze program. And kind of reflecting on this, there were 3 kind of major takeaways for me. So first and foremost, the most impactful thing was meeting other people, my cohort members, Lene, Leah, and also Jen, Dave, Natalka, getting to meet some really, really incredible people who have done amazing things, have these really great backgrounds, getting to know them and spend time with them, learn from their perspectives. Second, again, is I'm a born and raised native Phoenician. And again, really getting outside of my comfort zone of greater Arizona. And I'll give you one example. So my wife is from the Yuma area. I spent a lot of time there, go down there on about a monthly basis. And the amount of information that I learned about Yuma, San Luis, Somerton, Mexico, I mean, I learned so much. I thought I knew a lot about those communities. But again, getting to spend time with a variety of leaders in those areas was really, really incredible. To know what is planned for the future there was just really, really amazing. And then the third thing I had is sort of increased pride and passion for Arizona. I mean, I'm definitely sometimes defending myself being a Phoenician and in Arizona to some of my friends who aren't necessarily from here, relocated here. So definitely that pride, but then also, you know, the passion for some of the big issues and challenges that we still, you know, have to solve here, and how Explore didn't really shy away from those. But again, like you've heard, really located it within the people that are engaged with some of these issues. So 3 takeaways from me.
Awesome, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, how about you, Lene?
Sorry about that. So in a word, my Explore experience was wonderful. It was very eye-opening as we went around to different cities and talk with the leaders, the economic development people, the education leaders. in some instances of the elected, council members, I had no idea. And I realized just how boxed in I was in my little world here in Mesa, where I live. So I fully appreciated the experience and the opportunity. I do feel more connected to all the communities that we went to. And I'm someone who's been working closely with Native country for 21 years. And during our last visit, which was to our last exploration to Navajo country, I thought I knew a lot, but I didn't know much at all. And it was one of the last experiences that we had where we went to visit Change Labs. And I just saw the email from yesterday, and I've got to watch that video, Jen, because I had decided at that time that I wanted to work closely with Change Lab in some way, which is a nonprofit organization that exists to build entrepreneurs in a Navajo Nation. And so I enjoyed every minute of it, of learning to think more critically about the range of issues that are affecting communities across Arizona. Was most helpful, most beneficial, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. All right, Leah, you're up.
I don't think I could say it better than Brad or Lene said. So I think I concur with everything that they said. I think that for me, I wish I could apply again to go through the program again this year because it was that impactful for me. And I think the biggest piece is really getting into those communities, and you're learning about issues, and you're learning about how diverse it is, but also how it's affecting people on a personal level and inside their communities. And to have that diverse amount of experiences and thinking around what you're seeing is incredible. You build community in your Explore group, and I think the people in our Explore group will always hold kind of a special place for me. But also I feel like I've been given insight into the Yuma community in Nogales and Buckeye and South Phoenix in a way that I haven't had before. And so that was really special. And I think just the connections to places and the connections to people really gave me a better understanding of the state that I live in, and what I want to see for its future, and what I can do to act to help make that future be real. So I can't thank the Explore program enough, and everyone should do it.
Awesome. Thank you. I bumped something on my keyboard. I hope I didn't disrupt everything too much. Sorry about that. Okay, well, thank you so much for sharing your experiences. I think like those moments and just like having a bit of a testimonial about how meaningful it was for you is really more valuable than really like a lot of the things that I can say about it. So I really appreciate that. So for those of you who are here to learn more about Explore, we want to jump into a Q&A to be able to answer any questions that you might have about the program. I'm going to have Natalka go ahead and moderate that. And then once we're done, we can jump into some breakouts if we have some time, so you guys can have more direct conversations with our alumni about their experiences and learn if it's a good fit for you. So, all right, Natalka, I'll hand it off to you.
Thank you. First of all, I want to say I'm very excited to start class 3. Can't believe that. And I was about to say, if you have any questions, Joe is already ahead of the game here, and please raise your hand. So Joe, you have a question.
Yes, sorry, I'm driving, so I'm listening intently, but I'm kind of I'm kind of trying to not crash my car. Question: are you guys gonna have all the information as far as the dates post it somewhere? I just want to make sure they line up with like my calendar and that I can make it happen.
Yeah, they're actually on the website already.
Okay.
But if you are having trouble tracking those down or just want an email that kind of breaks it all down for you, we can send that to you as well.
If it's on the website, that's all I need. Just wanted to make sure because I know you went through it, and just want to make sure I don't have prior engagements during those times.
Yeah, that's probably the first thing to look at. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it's in the, if you go to the FAQs, it says what are the dates and like commitment, and it'll break it down for you.
Perfect. Thanks so much, guys.
Sure.
All right, Melissa, you have a question?
Yeah, hi, Jen. I'm a little confused about the sliding scale and the pay and how much it costs.
Yeah, so it's income based, and you're basically self-identifying what range you would fit within. And so it should be pretty straightforward. Again, it's on the website, it kind of breaks it down. If you're in this income range, then this would be your tuition. And that would just be determined based off of that. If you had it, go ahead.
So if my employer pays, it's like double. That's the part that it might be a sticking point.
Yeah, I mean, and that's something we can discuss, like if that would be a sticking point for your employer, that they wouldn't be willing to pay that amount, then we can certainly discuss that. We don't want that to be a barrier to your participation, but we also understand that there's many organizations and companies who have the funds to support professional development opportunities like this, and the true cost of participating in this program is significant. And so that was kind of an area where we kind of rationalized, well, if we have employers who are willing to pay and they have that capacity and professional development funds available, then we'll ask that of them. But again, if it's a barrier to your participation, then that's certainly a discussion we'd want to have.
Okay, great, thanks.
Does anyone else have any other questions? Julie, Kathy, Rachel, David, calling you out. Anyone? Happy to answer them, logistic wise or.
Question. You may have said it and I missed it, but you said you're trying to keep it to a smaller group of, cohort of individuals. Is there a target number that you're trying to, that you're looking at, or is it based on applications and kind of where the natural curve lies? How do you determine that?
It's a little bit of both. The past two cohorts have been 15 and 16, which is kind of a sweet spot in my opinion. But if we had a lot of applicants who we felt would be a good fit for the program, we would go up to 20, maybe a little bit more, but that's about where we'd want to cap it.
Anybody else? Nope. All right, well, if there's no questions, feel free, if you think of something later, to email Jen or myself, and we'd be happy to answer those as well. But I'm going to give the floor back to Jen.
I have a question, but it's probably more for you, Jen.
Okay.
How did you come up with these cities?
Research. So we knew at the beginning that we wanted to visit these different parts of Arizona. So we wanted to hit those, kind of check those boxes of rural, urban, suburban, native, border, right? Those were the boxes. But once I started researching and learning and trying to identify where it is that we would go, and interviewing people, these were the places that really surfaced, probably because they're the most obvious to some degree, right? Like Navajo Nation is huge. So that became the place that we chose to represent native land here in Arizona. Yuma for agriculture, because that was an area that's usually, significant for agriculture in Arizona. Nogales for the border town, because that was, again, a significant experience. We also go to San Luis when we go to Yuma, so you kind of see two different border experiences. And Buckeye is kind of an ex-urban experience. That's one of the largest growing or fastest growing cities in the nation and has been for a number of years now. So we thought that was important to get some insight into, better understand. And Mesa being kind of a urban suburb to some degree. And then South Phoenix, we just added last year, and that felt like an important part of the history here in the Phoenix area, and one that many people had asked questions about and wanted to learn about. So it just sort of happened in a natural way, but felt like each of these places was a good representation of these sort of geographical boxes that we wanted to check with the program.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I
this
have
is
a really quick. I have a really quick question. I was looking on the website while we were talking, and there was something about there's also the commitment of the night before every meeting. Can you tell a little, like, what times are those? Like, what, what, like, obviously that's a commitment as well. Could you explain when those are?
Yes, thank you for bringing that up, Julie. Yeah, the night before we travel anywhere, we have just an hour-long session where we go over all of the logistics and the agenda and where we're meeting and what time you have to be there and sort of all those things so that everyone feels prepared and like there's no lingering questions about what to expect from those travel experiences. I feel like as grown-ups, we often want to like control and know all of the details of everything that's about to happen. And so I feel that hour-long session the night before where we dig into all of that really clearly helps everyone to feel a little bit more comfortable about what to expect the following day. And we also have a guest speaker who comes on and sort of preps us for what we're going into as well, right? So maybe they weren't able to accommodate us or show up for us in the actual program experience, so they'll join us for a virtual session and give us a little insight into their role within the community that we're about to visit as well. So it's a little bit of a teaser for what we're about to experience, and also lots of logistical kind of pieces to wrap up. And usually that is like a 6 to 7 p.m. experience. So it's hopefully not going to interfere too much with work. Hopefully it's not so long that it disrupts your family time as well. But that's essentially what it is. Melissa, did you have another question?
I had a question about how you select people for this. Are you recruiting for a team, or are you just is it on an individual basis?
It's individual. Yeah. So we created just the online application with the 7 short answers. It's very intentionally designed to ensure that the folks who are applying, that they know kind of what they're getting into, right? Because traveling around our state, going into communities that we're not part of, and being in a space where we can truly be open to learning and understanding is an important and integral part of like not just the experience for the cohort and them to be able to learn together and from each other and connect, but also for the partners that we're visiting. So there's no interview process, there's none of that. It's just a very intentionally created 7-question application, and it's individually based. But what you'll find is at the end of it, you will have like created this cozy little family of people. So yeah. Okay. Well, this is the awkward part of the Zoom call where everyone stops talking. So I think if you do have any lingering questions or want more clarity, or even just want like a quick 15-minute call with me or Natalka, we're happy to do that. Just let us know. Go ahead and reach out. But I think we'll go ahead and wrap up the session for now. And yeah, hopefully you all got what you needed out of this. Again, thank you so much, Leah, Brad, Lene, for being here. Super appreciate you guys. Your faces are probably going to be shared. Pages like, we're excited to share the testimonials from the alumni. So not sorry about that.
Sorry, not sorry. Pass you all over.
Well, enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and I'm sure we'll see y'all soon.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Bye, everybody.